Yo, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Zero Spite back again once again. And today we're here for Kamen Revice episode 49. And this episode, oh god, this episode is actually pretty chill. This episode was actually about time to get to the ending, yeah. But this episode was pretty chill and actually pretty, it was wholesome, but it was also like pretty sad. We see how Iki's memory loss is really affecting him and affecting everybody else around him, and everybody just kind of trying to live their lives and things like that. People are still trying, like our main cast and everybody's still trying to cope with the fact that Iki doesn't remember any of them, but Iki has lost all his memories, and he's feeling pretty bad. He's like feeling bad about it because he's still trying to understand, like, how do I fit in this family? Like, he feels so out of place when it comes down to his his family and living with these people, stuff like that. And he's kind of just feels out of place, and the only person he remembers is Vice. And it even affects Vice to a point where Vice feels like everything is like his fault. He feels like, if he hadn't have made the contract with him and Iki, it's really like affecting him, and he feels really like he's down about it. So throughout the episode, we do see like he's there, but he's not like he's with the family. But we get a scene where they're all eating dinner and stuff together, and he's talking to them about how did I act, like how was I, how did I used to act before. And everybody just describes like how he used to be. They describe him like, oh, he was a busybody, oh, he was the most energetic, or he would, every time it was time to eat his favorite food and stuff like that, he'd be like so ready and stuff like that. Like he was just the happiest, just basically like the happiest person like in the family, the most jolliest. And he just doesn't feel right. So we did get a scene between Hanomi and George. They're in the bathhouse together, and we see that George actually, he feels really bad about what happened with the whole Juga thing. And also, I'm hoping we get the return of Juga, because that's it's like one of my favorite like writers in this series. But we see that he thanks Hanomi for like stopping him, and stopping him from doing what he did, and bringing him back to his senses and stuff like that. And we also, like, him and George kind of, Hiromi and George kind of bond a little bit. You see them hanging out together majority of the episode. Every time we see them together, we always see them together hanging out, and we did get a scene with Iki basically decides that he's leaving. He decides that he ends up leaving. Doesn't really tell anybody, but he leaves, and he ends up getting his own place thanks to Hiromi. And he gets a nice big place here, just him and Vice. And we see him and Vice actually going out shopping together. They end up going shopping together. They end up eating together, and Vice ends up making some food that's too spicy for Iki. We see them sleeping in the same room together, and Iki, they talk about Vice does bring it up that, oh, I feel bad about what happened and stuff. And Iki ends up calling him family. He's like, you're not just, you're not my partner, you're family to me. And the next, we end up seeing Iki going out and getting a new job. I think he ends up working with like a noodle place. He gets the job right off the bat. And then he ends up leaving. He ends up going back home. Vice kind of just feels bad about what happened, and he's still, while Iki's at his job interview, we see Vice ends up going and meeting up with Hiromi and George while they're arguing about how do you say parfait. They're having parfaits together, and he slams his hand on the table and says, it says, hey, it's time for me to go back to the demon that I'm supposed to be. And I was like, oh man, you listening to Veil now? You're listening to Veil? And then right off the bat, we see Iki going back. He gets home. He sees he gets home and Vice isn't there, and he ends up going to sleep. He wakes up, and he's getting a call from Hiromi, and he goes to Hiromi, and Hiromi shows him that he gets a call from Busan. Busan calls him. He goes back to the bathhouse. The bathhouse is like ransacked. He sees he sees Takumi laying there. He's all beat up and stuff like that. And then Takumi tells him that it was Vice. Vice did this. And he goes back to Hirome and George. Hirome and George show him that, oh, Vice is attacking people all throughout the city and things like that. And everybody's kind of like bloodied up. I say that with air quotes, but he's like, everybody's bloodied up. And that's when Iki's on his way there. He sees his dad trying to stop Vice. And we see, we get the return of Kamen Deathstream. And we see that Iki's dad, Genta, transforms into Deathstream. He's fighting Vice. And then the weirdest thing happens. It was just, I felt like they just threw this in there, but it was funny, but it felt so out of place at the moment. But, especially how it ended. But, Vice, takes the Gifford Rex stamp, and he stamps like a rubber duck. And then he possesses the rubber duck and transforms into a giant purple demon duck. And that really is something that Vice would do. It really is, but it just came out of nowhere, and it was funny, but it felt a little bit out of place because you tried to, like try to be menacing or whatever. I'm just gonna turn to a giant purple demon duck. And he breathes fire, and he ends up eating Deathstream and pooping him out. Like, what? And there was sparkles and stuff everywhere after he came out. I'm like, what? What's happening? And then he beats Deathstream like that. Like, that's how he gets beaten. And what I was thinking was, man, I was hoping Vale would say something, because Vale's still alive. He's still inside of Genta. So I was like, I wanted Vale to say something so bad. I wanted Vale to say something, but it was so stupid. So, so Iki, he's talking to Vice, and he's like, Vice, let's go home, man. What's happening? What are you doing? And, like, Vice is all bloodied up and stuff like that. And Vice starts to explain to him, like, yeah, now that you've forgotten everything, now I can be myself. Now I can, do my real plan and stuff, and I could truly be free and stuff like that. And he tells Iki that it was all just a big plan. I was just bending to your will to eventually, you forgot everything, and now I can be the demon I want to be and stuff. And he said, what about the people, what about my family, so-called family? What about them? He said, oh, they're happy inside of my belly. Now, because remember in the first episode, he tried to, Vice tried to eat Iki's moms, so, he's like, yeah, they're happy inside of me. I ate them. He said, but what do you care? You don't even remember them. And that's when Iki's like pissed. And he's like, he transforms, and we get a Guilford Rex versus Guilford Rex fight. And we see that, Vice basically goes off and tells him, like, he's like, oh, all of this is my fault. He said, because I'm your demon. And if I'm your demon and this is all my fault, then that means all this is your fault too. So, but yeah, we did get a see with George talking with Vice just when they were getting into their new apartment. And he says that, how come now that Iki has forgotten everything, how come the contract between y'all hasn't been lifted? Like, why does he not remember? Why didn't he get his memories back or anything like that? Why? And Vice is like, I don't know. That's a little bit out of my brain power for that. So this kind of comes full circle when we see Genta. He's there. He's still watching them fighting each other. And that's when everybody comes in. They all like hiding and stuff. And we see that all the blood wasn't real blood. It was ketchup. I'm like, Iki, how can you not tell the difference between blood and ketchup? They're both red, so I mean, like, that's all you got. That's all you going by. But we see that everybody's kind of watching this and seeing that, oh, if if Iki beats Vice, if he destroys Vice, then the contract would truly be lifted, because Iki considered, since Iki forgot everybody. The contract should have been lifted, but Iki always considered, or to a time, but Iki considered Vice family as well. So that's why he hasn't, forgot. That's why thing isn't gone. That's why he still doesn't remember anything, because the contract has been lifted, because Iki considered Vice's family too. So they would have to, Vice would inevitably have to be destroyed for Iki to get all of his memories back. So the episode kind of ends off right there with, them fighting each other, and next episode will be the final episode, and the next one will probably most likely Vice is gonna be out of here. So, but yeah, this episode was, I always knew that Vice would never truly betray Iki, and like I said in the last video, I felt like, this all had to be some type of plan or some type of prank or something like that. It all had to, like, there would have to be like a true legit reason of why Vice would betray Iki. And the only way I can see Vice betraying Iki is if Vice was possessed or something like that. We saw that when Gift did it, so it was like, that's the only way I see Vice ever betraying Iki. But I knew all of this had to be a plan from the start, because this stream wouldn't lose like that. This stream would not lose to a freaking giant demon duck and get pooped out and be okay with it. Like, all this was pre-planned. I mean, we didn't see them plan it out, but from the way Genta was acting after he saw Iki and Vice fighting each other, and when everybody kind of just walked up there and just watching, I knew it. I knew it was predictable. But other than that, this episode it was just I kind of always saw this coming. Like, eventually they would have to fight each other. But other than that, what you guys think? What you guys think about this episode coming out of Revice? You guys let me know. What you guys think about the demon duck? All that stuff. 'Cause that's the thing that got me the most. It's completely out of left field. Freaking giant purple demon duck. It poops him out, really? That was disrespectful to the stream. Disrespectful. But other than that, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about episode 49 of Kamen Rider Revice. I'm going to see you guys next time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm going to see you guys next time. Remember, stay henshined.